Okay, everybody, so this is my review of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale, One World, One People. So basically, the thing about this show and this episode is really that I've complained a lot how predictable it is, and I feel like with this episode, it is like one of the most predictable finales I think I've ever seen in any show. And that's a huge problem, especially for Marvel, because Marvel has just a standard of shocking you, keeping you hyped, keeping you excited, keeping you interested, and keeping you invested in its characters. And I don't feel like that really happened anywhere here. And I just think of it as if you could have just predicted every literal thing that happens in this episode, I think thousands of people could have done that, right? Like, first off, the reveal that Sharon Carter is the power broker was so obvious. I mean, so many people predicted that from the beginning because they kind of cut her out of the show and she was only coming in here and there. And it was like, well, who else is going to be the power broker? And you see those Easter egg videos again. It's kind of like the Mephisto thing, but other videos now saying the power broker is going to be these other big villains from the comics. It would have been way more interesting, but they don't do that here. And that's a letdown for WandaVision and for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they don't do the creative reveal or kind of story to how they're going to have someone set up as a villain. That's something that's just been common with the shows, which is disappointing. But I mean, they're really trying to make this Sharon Carter new version really cool, and it's just not working for me. Like the whole face disguise thing and then the mercury vapor. I don't know. It just felt lame, honestly. And that goes to it being a disappointing post credits scene at the end of a whole season of a show that, oh, okay, Sharon Carter gets her full pardon, but she's still pissed off, and now she's in her old division again, and she's the power broker. So I don't know. If you were excited for that, I mean, let me know. I'm shocked, though, if you are, because that to me was just so silly and not exciting. And it's not like we were even really built into Sharon Carter to really get excited as her as this villainous character. I just don't see it. So it's it's really strange because then when we see now Sam getting his new outfit from Wakanda, which was all hyped up. I'm gonna be a little biased here, but I saw like there was a leak before the show started where there was the actual toy figure from one of the toy lines of Captain America Sam version, and it's exactly what we saw here. So I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh man, okay, that leak was real, but it still looked cool, and I thought a lot of the action in the new suit was really cool. I like that he was catching the shield, jumping out of that window there. That was really sick how they blend it with Falcon with Captain America's skills with the shield. And I like the moment on the bridge where he had his Falcon wings cover the shield. I thought that was a really nice touch. But again, it's like it reminded me of the Westworld season 3. If you're still watching that show finale, where it was just pretty much all action. It's a whole action sequence here, and it's exactly how you thought it would go down with Carly and the Flag Smashers. It was gonna be that action set piece, and my problem though is how strange the action is here and silly. Like why do they have just these super soldiers not be that strong? And they rip out a parking meter at one point and start whipping it at people. I thought that was just so funny to me. And I mean, look, there's moments too where it's like really convenient. Like there just happens to be somebody in the helicopter who knows how to fly, right? And they take over. Like if you take a step back again, I always say this, but take the Marvel goggles off for a second, the MCU goggles with their great reputation, and just realize like what you're watching. You'd be like, if this was labeled anything else, you would think this is not good. And I get annoyed because I know I'm gonna get a ton of thumbs down because anytime I say anything bad about Marvel property, the fanboys come out. And I love Marvel. I love DC. I don't take sides or anything like that. I'm just looking at it as a show and not with any bias towards loyalty to a fan base. And I feel like the problem is the people who are like, "Oh no, this show's 10 times better than WandaVision. You're crazy." It's like I'm not even trying to compare to WandaVision in that sense, but I'm trying to say that WandaVision is actually a good TV show where this isn't. And I think people who say that are in denial and are like, "Oh no, I think they're just a fan of the genre more. Like this is more based in reality, it's straight up action." And it's like those fanboys that only like stuff with male leads and it's just to the point and they're getting action. And that's what they're serving you here. It's not very creative. It's very predictive. And it's very predictable, and it's like it just keeps going. Where I was just like, all right, I am so done with this because even when you have it that Sam is talking now and he's telling basically this whole moral of the show and he's going on this monologue, it felt like the end of like a kid's TV show, and that's where like that real Disney feeling came in too, where I felt like I was watching, okay, this clearly is obviously targeted more towards kids, fine, but that was just too much. And it was like you showed Torres just laying on the ground watching, and then Sam's sister. Everyone just happens to be watching the news at that time, and him just giving this speech. I just thought it was just, oh my god. And what felt weird too is you had the post credit scene last week that gave people a lot of hype with John Walker, and then he shows up, and then he flips real quick, and then he's like buddy buddy with Bucky and Sam through this, and Sam even nods to him at the end, and that's really how they wrap it up with this guy, and everyone in public is okay with him, even though he was caught on camera literally beating a guy to death with his shields. Just didn't feel right. It felt off with his character, and then we see he flips, but if you're gonna sell that, then all of a sudden he's fine with being with Val and now being U.S. agent. So it's just like, well, where are we going with this guy? And why are we going back and forth? It just felt like they cheated that too, because it was like, let's make him good for a second because we can't figure it out how else it would end with him in this scene. And then let's make him go be a U.S. agent. So it just felt weird that you showed that post credit like he was fully going that way. But then he goes back to being kind of pretty likable here. And then he goes, oh, no, you know what? I'm going to be U.S. agent. So I don't know, man. It's, and what I did like, I liked the two wrapping of the story here character wise of Sam and Bucky. I thought it was nice to see Bucky go and actually address that old man about killing his son and doing some real amending. So we're finally going back to some stories set up in episode 1. I like that Sam and Isaiah had a nice talk here and that he made the statue for Isaiah. I thought that really landed and was strong. But again, that's not much here. Like, that's a little blip of good here. I'm not like thinking this was a bad episode. I think it was just like, yeah, this is exactly what I expected from the show for it to be the finale. I mean, come on, if you thought that was great, let me know why and give me specific reasons why. I want to hear specific examples of why you really enjoyed that, because I think that you really just have to take a step back and just look at it as a TV show, because that's what we're watching is a TV show, right? So this is what I would give any other show that is doing this. I'd give it a 6.8, and it's really disappointing because I really had high hopes for this, but I think again you had the COVID issues with the filming. It was supposed to come out before WandaVision. You feel that here watching it, and if I look at MCU produced movies and shows, this is going to go towards the bottom of the barrel. That's going to happen. And because you're having so much content come out now and they have all these shows planned, you're just going to have hits, misses. To me, this was more of just a plain miss, So what can you do? But I'm going to give actually the season the same score, 6.8, which I think is fitting. And I think it had some decent episodes and some good moments. And I still really like the acting here. I just think that so much of this is going to be forgettable, especially Carly as a villain. It just felt like you were watching a video game at one point. And some of the action here in the finale felt like you're just watching a video game story. It's just like, okay, she's this rebel, but she's like, sympathized with at the end by Sam to lead to the message. But again, it's just not the most interesting stuff. We've seen it a billion times. But, again, I'm ready. I'm ready for the thumbs down and the comments crapping on me. That's fine. I'll take it all. That's why this is America, right? We all have the right to say our opinions, but I just hope you respect my content. And I'd rather you just sound off in the comments than give me a thumbs down, So, but anyway, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment, try to respond as many as I can. Please make sure to subscribe. I'll be definitely reviewing Loki, so you're going to want to check that out. I'll be doing live every single episode. I also do other movies, TV shows, and I do celebrity interviews as well. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. And I'll see you next time.